Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to the demo session too. So as we have discussed earlier. So today what I am going to cover is basically I'm going to show you few practical examples so that you guys are going to understand how the upcoming sessions will be. Right? It is not completely theory. It is not I can say the boring sessions kind of a thing for you. Of course, you will be having most of the topics. I can say more than 70 to 80% of the topics are practical topics, right? To just make you understand the phase, how we go and learn the things. I am going to show you here a few practical examples, okay? And let me know if you have any questions afterwards, right? So, okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so where we do these practicals, right? Where do where we learn the things. Uh, like what we do is on top of the operating system, we are going to create a virtualization layer. Okay, using the Oracle VirtualBox Manager, which is a free software for the creating a virtual environment. So once we are done with the creation of this, virtualization, on top of it, we are going to install various operating systems. Okay. So here you can see these all the various operating systems which I have installed on top of the VM. So it's like here only we'll install the attacker machine. Here only we will install the what the target machine, right? So for us, attacker machine is a Linux operating system, which is kernel Linux operating system, and for us, target, you can take any operating system, guys. Okay, either you can take one plain Windows 7 or 10, make it vulnerable by installing or starting some vulnerable services in it, and then you identify those vulnerabilities and exploit it, or else you have intentionally created a vulnerable operating systems for the practice purpose, right? Like for an example, Metasploitable 2. Okay, this is intentionally created a vulnerable operating system for practice purpose, guys. Right? Either you can start any one of the operating system from here, and then you can start attacking on this, or maybe learn various types of system penetration testing techniques. Okay, it could be exploiting the misconfigurations or exploiting certain very critical issues or password cracking attacks. Okay, all of these things you can easily able to perform and learn in your own lab network itself. Okay, you can see the way I'm booting up the systems, and I'm going to try this uh, here itself. Yep. So here is my Win 7, and here is my Metasploitable 2, okay, which is intentionally designed vulnerable operating system. It's a CLI. You need to give the default passwords like MSF admin and MSF admin to log in into it. Yeah. Or maybe if you're targeting a web application, for an example, right? So you can either host your own web application, okay, which has certain vulnerabilities in it to practice it in your own local network. There are a lot of vulnerable web applications are there. there are from few from OASP. Also there like OASP Middle OASP Joe Shop kind of applications. Also, you can host it in your own network, okay, locally, or this Metasploitable 2, right, which I have started. This also has a few basic applications to get started, right? Or else there are certain applications which we have, in the internet. Um, those applications also we can directly take it as a real-time targets, and we can learn it, guys. Okay, so this is a kind of a lab that we are going to work throughout the course, right? So one Kali machine, and then the rest of the couple of target machines, right? Okay, let's say now you are sitting in some network. Okay, you're sitting in some internal network. Let's assume that you are an attacker. Now you are sitting in some internal network. Okay, so what we'll do first, once you enter into someone else's network, okay, the first thing what we do, we perform the scan on their network to see how many systems are connected to the network, isn't it? We need to first understand the network, right? So how do we perform the scans? Okay, how do we perform the scans to identify the how many systems are connected to the internal network is, first you check what is your IP address, correct? So if you look into this IP address, okay, by typing the ifconfig, this is starting with 192.168. It's a private IP, class C IP, right? Okay, so these three parts are the network parts, and the last part is host part. So what I'm going to do is to find out how many systems are connected to the target network. Okay, first I have to initiate the scan. Okay, so here I am doing the host discovery scan. Okay, what I'm doing over here, I am performing the host discovery scan. This is for identifying how many systems are alive in the network. So basically in the class 3 network, we can able to connect, 254 systems. So out of that, I need to see how many systems are actually alive. When I say alive, you know, which system has what IP address, okay, uh, kind of a details I wants to know to perform the further attacks, right? Out of that, you can see I was able to figure out that, okay, there are four systems are there. I mean, three systems are, I have already identified, and one system is my Kali Linux operating system, okay, which is the 136 is my IP, and 77.114, okay, 168. All of these are what the for me, like, of course, the other systems which are connected to the network, right? So, okay, what we have done, first we have identified how many systems are alive uh, in the network where we are connected by performing the ARP scan, right? Okay, what is the next thing? We'll pick up one of the target from here, and then we'll start performing the port scan, right? See, what is this ports? Ports are like the entry points for an attacker to get into the system, right? We have 0 to 65,535 ports, okay, in every system. Of course, they may not be used always, okay, depending on what services that they are running, these ports are useful. So I'm taking one target over here to perform the port scan and figure out how many ports are open, like how many doors and windows are open, kind of a thing, right? So to perform that port scanning, okay, I am using a tool called as a Nmap. Okay, what tool I am using? I am using a tool called as a Nmap, which is called as a network mapper. You can see I have initiated this scan on 77. I got so many ports open. Right? There are a lot of ports are open, and also it's telling that it's running in the virtual box, right? Which is this is my Metasploitable 2 system. Okay, maybe let's say if I'm initiating this scan on 168. Okay, so this is my Windows system. Okay, I can see all the Windows services are running over here. You got my point. So what is Nmap here? Nmap is a network mapper. It's a very famous tool. What type of a hacker he is, he will be starting his information gathering phase, okay, by using the Nmap itself, right? So now using the Nmap, okay, he has performed the port scan on this target operating systems, right, to see what ports are open. Okay, he found a lot of ports are open, right? If there is any port which is vulnerable, right? If there is any port which he identifies it is vulnerable, he will try to break into that port and enter into the target system, right? For an example, um, okay, let's do one thing, right? Let's target any one of the system, and I'll show you how attacker can able to break into the um, you know this ports to enter into the system, right? So let's take this 77. Okay, what is this 77? 77 is basically the IP address of the Metasploitable 2 machine, right? So now we'll take this target IP as a 77, and I'll show you okay how to exploit few vulnerabilities. Okay, right. So before I maybe go further and perform the exploitation of any one of the port over here, let's first do dig more information about these ports. Okay, so right now we know what ports are open and what services are running over here. Let's also perform some of the advanced scans, like let's go and perform version detection scan to see what versions are running in each port, right? If we know what versions of the services which are running in each port, that will be easy for us to perform the further attacks, right? So you can see every port is running with a different services. Now let's say if I am taking an example of the first port, okay, which is FTP. FTP is used for performing a file transfer, right? So okay, that's fine. They are running a service called as an FTP to perform the file transfer, and they are using an FTP server called as a VSFTPD 2.3.4. We got the version. Okay, very straightforward, right? So I'll take this version and I'll check if this version has any vulnerabilities in it. Okay, I'll check this in the Google or in the vulnerability database. I'll go to Google. Okay, I think the browser is opening. Yeah, I'll just paste this over here, whatever I've copied, and I can just type vulnerabilities in this version. So I got a lot of results, guys. Okay, for this particular version, VSFTB 2.3.4, it seems to be very noun issue because the results are also from very old, right? So Rapid 7, they have their own vulnerability assessment tool, and they have their own exploitation tool called as a Metasploit, which is a very famous exploitation tool also. They have also some information here, right? It says that backdoor command execution, it seems. So this particular version 2.3.4 has what? A backdoor command execution vulnerability. So if you read the description, you will understand it. Uh, so okay, this is the old issue, guys. You can see it is identified in 2011. Um, so this particular module exploits a malicious backdoor that was added to the VSFTPD download archive. Okay, so here some hacker or some attacker, what they have done, they have added some backdoor in this particular version, which is VSFTPD 2.3.4. Okay, in between June 30th, 2011 to July 1, 2001, if someone is downloaded this version, okay, that has a backdoor. Okay, later who has downloaded this, the backdoor is basically removed. You got my point. What is backdoor? Backdoor is like it's going to give you the VIP access to the system. Okay, sometimes maybe what attackers do is, when they have the source code access, and they add some kind of a backdoor for them to enter into the system without giving the authentication kind of a thing, right? So this is how the hackers have added the backdoor. The people who are downloading and using in between, okay, the backdoor is there. So now to verify whether our running vulnerable service is also affected to it or not, okay, even you can also run, you can verify that, okay, by running the exploit which is available with the Metasploit, right? So now we know that there is a port open, it's running VSFTPD 2.3.4, it has some backdoor in it. Okay, now I need to verify, or I need to try and see, okay, if I can able to exploit this backdoor to do the, okay, command execution or not, right? Backdoor command execution or not. If it is, then straightforwardly I'll be entering into the system, okay, by exploiting this vulnerability, and I can able to do execute various commands on the target system, right? So how do I verify that? We have an exploit, okay, for verifying that in the Metasploit framework. So Metasploit is one of the very famous exploitation tool, okay, Metasploit console. To launch that Metasploit console, I'm writing this command called as a MSF console. So you understand this process. As an attacker, okay, I have entered into one network and I'm performing a scan on that network to identify how many systems are there. I took one system as a target. I have done the port scan on the target to see what ports are running. I found one port is having, running with so and so version of the service, which has some backdoor in it. Now I am going to verify whether the backdoor is basically exploitable or not. Okay, using the Metasploit tool. Got my point? Okay. So, okay. So once you enter into the Metasploit, okay, you will have the Metasploit console here, right? So now I need to use this exploit, okay, which is called as a VSFTPD backdoor by following these steps, guys. Right? Copy this and paste it over here. Right? So this exploit is available. It is loaded. This is someone else's written, guys. The exploit is someone else's written. We are just going to use it. Right? So you just need to give the target IP address where you wanted to run this exploit. Anyway, port is automatically defaultly 21 for the FTP. So now set our host, which is the remote host IP address. Okay, the IP address of the target, right? Copy and put it over here, and again go for the show option to verify whether the IP address is added or not. Okay, if it is added, now you type exploit and see, okay, whether this is working or not. It seems to be working because I can see that found shell, and one session is open between my system, okay, which is 136 to, okay, which is 136 to 77, right? Now successfully I was able to penetrate, get into the target system. I have the shell access now. I can able to run, you know, the other commands. Like suppose if I'm asking who am I, root, IP address, you can see I am into the 77. I can access all the files which are there in the system, right? I can check in which location I am. I was able to run all the commands now, right? So this is how hackers use such type of a tools to target the systems, to identify, I mean, do the information gathering and identify the vulnerabilities, and they try to, take the advantage of those vulnerabilities to break into the system. Now this is how the bad guys, okay, like the black hat guys will try to uh, enter into the organization networks by taking the advantage of the vulnerabilities, right? You got my point. And then they can, as per their motive, they can steal the data or they can damage the systems. Okay, they can modify the data, right? All of the things they'll be doing it. So here, as a ethical hacker or as a VAPT professional, our responsibility is, what is our responsibility, guys, over here? When you have, like a bad guys are doing like this, what we'll do, how we are going to help the organizations. Hmm? Anyone wants to add something?
Hi, Sai.
Okay, hi Rakesh.
So we need to check that network level to protect our organization assets. So if it is
Hmm.
having vulnerable or not in a nmap or in vulnerability scanner.
Right, so what we do is, as an ethical hacker or a penetration tester, we first make sure that, okay, how many assets are there for the organization. When I say assets, it could be anything which has some sort of a worth in it, right? Software assets, like servers, workstations, routers, switches. All of these are called as assets. So what we do is
Yes.
we periodically perform the scans, which scans vulnerability scans on this all the assets. And whenever we identify the loophole, like vulnerabilities, we will immediately flag those vulnerabilities to the system owner to fix them, right? So if we are like doing this proactive approach, okay, before someone identifies it and exploit it, if we can able to use our own tools to identify the issues and fix it, will this kind of attacks happen? Hmm?
Yes, definitely, Sai.
I mean, it will happen. It's not going to happen, or it is going to happen.
So if it is
It is not going to
there is a
happen.
vulnerability, if the vulnerability is found, so as a VAPT or pen like our responsible to do exploit from my side, right? So if it is flag that,
Okay, as a pen tester, when you wanted to, perform the, simulated, attacks, um, yeah, you can do that. Okay, I totally got it. But, you
okay,
know, if we are working for the organization, okay, for securing all of their assets, okay, like maybe, proactively performing the vulnerability scans on their infrastructure, and identifying all the weaknesses and helping them to fix it early, before someone exploits it. This kind of exploits will not exploitations, will not happen from the outsiders, right? You got my point.
yes sir.
Yeah. So okay. So when we are working in the VA, okay, like vulnerability assessment or vulnerability assessor, right? Our responsibility is to, scan all of these assets and identify the issues, and create the reports and share those reports after prioritizing with the patch management team to fix those issues, right? So that the risk posture, okay, will be coming down, and the possibility of exploiting this kind of attacks will be, will be not there, right? Because always we'll be tracking our devices assets for known issues, okay, with the help of the tools like, Nessus and Qualys, right? So we have tools like Qualys, we have tools like Nessus, right? So these all the, I can say, professional, corporate tools. Okay, most of the organizations will be having these tools with them. With the help of these tools, they run, all the scans, and they identify the known vulnerabilities, so that even these tools can also have the capability to fix those issues, guys. Okay, they have patch management modules in it, like Qualys has it, or maybe if they want to use some other patch management tool also, that is also fine, right? This is VA part, right? After identifying the issues, we will tell them to fix it, right? So mostly when it comes to network, right, we do VA only, vulnerability assessment only. Why not we go one step ahead and perform the penetration testing? Because, okay, I'll tell you. Network, let's say if you're doing this assessment on a production system, okay, will they allow you to run some sort of a malicious scripts or exploits on the prod? No. Network is always live network only. Okay. So I can say very less that we do the network penetration testing. Okay, rest, we use these tools like Qualys or Nessus to perform the scans on the infrastructure, and we highlight all the identified issues. So when you use these tools, right, to perform the scans, these tools, will give you the very stylish reports, I can say. Um, Not only stylish reports, it will give you all the information, guys, about a specific vulnerability. I have some previous scan reports which I wanted to show you guys how it will look like. Yeah. So when you perform the scan with these tools, right? Um, by setting in, by performing the scans, you can see how these tools are giving the results for us. Right? How many are critical? How many are high, medium, low, info? Right? And when you open each, this is like very high level report. Even you can download the technical report also. Okay. So when you open the technical report, right, you can see here. So here the technical report says the synopsis, description, solution also this tool itself is giving you, and the criticality, and the plugin output, how it is identified the issue, right? So what we do, we will take all of these details, we will follow the procedure what the organization has it to create the tickets and to assign it to the right owner. So they will be working on fixing it, right? So if you fix it, okay, and again when you initiate the scans, these vulnerabilities may not be there. Correct. Understand. So the known vulnerabilities cannot be exploited and we will be secured. And this process runs, continuously, guys. Got my point? This is like completely a, cycle, process, right? Because there are new vulnerabilities always will be coming up, in the internet. So when it is, identified, of course, it will be added in the vulnerability database. Again, when you scan it, if in case if you're using that particular, thing, it will get flagged, and we will look into the fix and we'll fix it, and this process continues again, right? So this is network part. When it comes to applications, so application, see nowadays network layer attacks I can say easily prevented, like using this kind of a corporate tools like Nessus and Qualys, or implementing the network layer security devices like firewalls, routers, switches, okay, IDS, IPS kind of a devices, right? Easily we can detect it. So now what attackers are doing is they are trying to, compromise the systems or servers using the applications. Okay, let's say web applications, right? So these web applications, security also we have this in this course. Hope you know it, right? Web application pen testing is also there, right? So there is a demand now for the web application pen testing, right? So here, even when you run the scan with the tools, okay, to identify the issues also, they can only give you 55 to 60% of the issues. The rest of the issues like business logic issues, or some of the issues related to access controls or session management or some other categories, cannot be covered with the automated tool. So we have to learn the manual techniques to uh, perform the web application penetration testing. And here you can do exploitation with your own tools, and you can hack these applications like a real hacker. Because what happens is, once the application is developed, okay, it will not directly go to the production, right? That will be first given to you in the UAT access, or by creating a security environment access to you. You can go and try the penetration testing over there, and identify the issues. Okay, whenever you identify those issues, you can highlight those issues to the developer so that he will be fixing it. Got my point, right? So here we can use the tools like burp suite. Okay, anyone knows or have an experience of using this burp suite? I'm just summarizing this, guys. Okay.
No, Sai.
Okay. So Burp Suite is very famous web application penetration testing tool from the Portsfigure. Okay, if you go to portsfigure.net, all the application penetration testers will use this tool, guys. Portsfigure, Portsfigure product, Burp Suite. So it has four different flavors. I can say the one which I'm using is Community Edition. But when you are actually going to learn this course, I'm going to show you the attacks using the professional, right? So mostly these tools are same, okay, because you're getting something for free. There are few less options, features are there. So this tool I have already installed it over here. Okay, so this is the Burp Suite. It's basically a framework which has a lot of tools integrated to it to perform the application security assessments, right? So yeah, so this tool also has it integrated browser, which allows you to intercept all the traffic. Okay, the HTTP request belongs to the target. Let's say I wanted to try some attack on the target application, which is, let's say, testphp.vulnerweb.com. Okay, I wanted to see if there is an SQL injection vulnerability existed in this login page or not, right? So what you can do, you can do quick submit some information over here, like a some random input before you send this request to the server. Okay, do the intercept on. So what happens is when you enable the intercept on, this traffic will get stuck here. I mean, we will be intercepting the traffic over here. We can see actually how the post request is going to the server by carrying my username and password, right? It allows you to change this HTTP request before you send it to the client, and it has a tool called a repeater. Okay, I'm sending this request to repeater. It allows you to basically test the um, particular request by sending this multiple repetitive request and observe the response over here. You can see this time it says that uh, the given username and the password, right, is basically okay. Okay, it's redirecting to where login.php, and it says you must log in. I mean, it's the wrong username and wrong password. But if in case if this has any SQL injection vulnerability, okay, SQL is what? SQL is basically a structured query language which is used to communicate with the database. So whenever you give your usernames and passwords over here, right, those usernames and passwords goes to the server in the form of a query, and it will check, okay, this username and password is present or not. According to the response, we will either log in or we will have this message saying that you must log in, kind of a message, right? But if in case if the given input is going into the query without proper you know validations, attackers can write some sort of a malicious query over here like this to log in into the account with the same credentials. Right, I'm writing some basic payload over here, which is like single quote r1 equal to 1 go. You can see I got 200. Okay, I can able to log in as a test user. I think the test user is the first user in the database. It allowed me to even I can open this in the browser. Okay, so it's like right click, request in the browser's original session, copy. Sorry. Okay, so this is a browser which I'm using it, right? I'll go and just paste it over here. See, I haven't logged in, but now okay. Okay, it has some issue, but yeah, if you see here, I could have shown you with a different browser, but here you can see I have logged in. I got the cookie. I can clearly see that, right? I can clearly see that I'm logged in into the test user, right? So this has happened because of SQL injection. You can see it says logout test user. Even I can use the same payload from the browser itself. Okay, I can copy this. I can show you from the browser itself, right? So give some username and let's paste this. Login. You can see I have logged in over here without having valid credentials, just by exploiting the application layer vulnerability. By just exploiting the SQL injection vulnerability in the application. Even he can do further exploitation also to dump all the information from the database, right? Even if you're closing all the ports, let's say only running a web application, if that has any vulnerabilities like SQL injection, attacker can you know uh, dump all the data from the database, right? So what I'm trying to conclude over here is only network security may not help you, right? You also needs to develop the application securely, or else by identifying the vulnerabilities in the application, attackers can also compromising the servers and the backend components like database by just simply okay with by exploiting an application layer vulnerability, even if you have security, right? So now what we do as a penetration tester, we involve in this application development process to ensure that they are developing a secure applications which are resistant for all of these hacks. Okay, it could be cross-site scripting, SQL injection, or there are a bunch of attacks that we are going to learn it, right? So you are going to learn how to test those attacks, and also we will give the guidelines for the developers to fix them, because developers will always write the code by keeping the functionalities in the mind. Okay, they might miss the security aspects, right? So as a security person, we involve with them in the development process to help them to create the secure applications, right? We also test them like a penetration tester for identifying the vulnerabilities, and we will write a report and we will give it to them, right? So yeah, this is just high level, guys. How this course is basically, what we do right after learning this course, and how we are going to help the organizations, and to create the secure networks and secure products. What is our role as a penetration tester, right? So yeah, that's all from my side, guys, for today. I'll just take up your questions if you have anything. Either it might be related to today's session, or maybe any other questions related to the course. And don't worry if some of you may not understand about the technical terms what I have used today, or the tools, and other stuff. Okay, this is just to, as I said in the beginning, this is just to make you understand how we are going to learn the things, right? So like most of the things I'll be showing you practical only, because there is no theory that can help you to be a master in this course. Of course, you have to learn the things with the practically and do the labs, right? Yeah, guys, I'm open for the questions.
Thanks, Sai, for the valuable session. So I have few questions regarding this demo class. So how
Yeah,
the this pen testing is common for all the like domains in cybersecurity. It is applicable to web security, vulnerability management, like other areas also.
yeah, right. So nowadays, security is encompassed into every domain, right? So yeah, we have network security, we have application security, API, mobile, right? So we have security like uh, all the way now. So it's a demand now.
Yes, yes, we have so many domains in cybersecurity. So for it
Mm.
is pen testing is common, right? We need to
Yep.
learn first pen testing, right?
Yep.
Okay, okay, thanks. One more thing, how the companies hire for this role, and what is the demand in the market today? So
Okay.
basically, what is the role providing in the VAPT? So VAPT means like a pen testing is one role, and vulnerability assessment management is one role, right?
Yeah.
So
See,
for this session,
vulnerability assessment. Okay, is I
uh,
can say, uh, like once you're done with the setup and once you're initiating the scans and pulling the reports, you will not have much work there, apart from the coordinating, making them to fix and show some progress, by going with the meeting and creating a dashboards and all, right? But of course, vulnerability assessment is a part of the penetration testing itself, right? Once we do vulnerability assessment to identify the system security posture, then we will do the penetration testing, right? So yeah, so that is the for the first thing, right? When it
Yeah.
comes to, I mean, you have to learn both of the things. When you wanted to become a penetration tester, you have also needs to learn for the vulnerability assessment also. Okay, so jobs about the pen testing. Okay, right now you're looking, let's say, jobs in Hyderabad. Okay, there are jobs, guys. You can see. Okay, um, maybe if you're looking for other locations, you can just search with other locations, or maybe India, all over India, you will get these jobs, guys. Okay, so pen testing manager from the McDonald's, EY, TEK Systems, Experian, E2 Open. There are a lot of Apple, right? So a lot of openings, guys. Okay, most of them are posted recently, right? 9 days, 2 days. Right? Maybe if you need some exact count, I think you have to go to the Naukri and search it. Maybe let's say if I put India or Bangalore, you will get a lot more openings, guys. Right? So when you want to know what exact skills that they are looking for, right? So you can go and check it over here, right? Open every JD and understand and then prepare for the same. Make sense? Yep.
Yeah, Sai.
Vulnerability assessment also, I think you will be having it.
So finally, it is common for all the domains in cybersecurity, right? So we need to learn pen testing.
Yeah. So there are some VM jobs also, guys. You can see here. Yeah. So they are expecting Burp, Nmap, Wireshark, OASP top 10, penetration testing, right? So you have all the description over here, what they're expecting. You just need to go through it. Okay. Prepare accordingly. Yep.
So again, web security and application security is different, right? When it comes to vulnerability assessment.
See, vulnerability assessment can be performed on network and also on the application also. So what we are doing in vulnerability
Okay.
assessment, we are trying to identify the vulnerabilities, okay, which are like known vulnerabilities for us, right? So for network, we use it a lot. The reason is there are hundreds of thousands of new vulnerabilities will be coming up in the network. Manual, manually identifying the vulnerabilities like an outsider, okay, fixing them with the open source tools become a very hectic, right? It takes a lot of time, and humans may do mistakes, right? That's where we use these tools like Nessa and Qualys. They have their own database which has all the known vulnerabilities in it. Even they have their own proprietary database with advanced vulnerability detection logics. When you perform a scan with these paid tools, they will only give you all the list of vulnerabilities to you, and also all the details like description, solution, impact, fix, whether it is exploitable or not. Okay, by looking at these all the columns, you can prioritize yourself and work with the teams to fix it. Similarly, you can also run the scans on the applications using these tools, okay, to identify the application related vulnerabilities. But as I said, that is basically called as a dashed scan, dynamic application security testing scan. But what happens is when you do the dash test scan, it will only give you 55 to 60% of the vulnerabilities. There you have to learn manual web application penetration testing skills. Okay, the demand for the manual, web application penetration tester is something what organizations are looking for, right? Automated tools like VA tools can be ran by anyone, right? Who has knowledge about the VM process, or about the tools and all. Anyone can do it. It's like once you're done with this scan, it's mostly coordinating with the internal teams to working on fixing part. But when it comes to application, where there are a lot of demand is for the application manual testing. Yeah. Okay.
Got it, Sai. So one more thing. So this is only training purpose, or you are guiding the students to deploy in the corporate environment, or you are preparing for any like interviews like that also?
Yeah. So after the sessions, okay, you can first do couple of projects. Okay. Then after that, I can give you the interview questions to you. I have the list of interview questions that which you need to prepare. Then I can also help you to take some mock interviews, right? So once you're done with it, we can guide you. Okay, but I'm not sure, until unless if there is some maybe um, I can say tie up or something. Okay, we cannot directly deploy you. Okay, as of now, I can say we can give you the assistance to you.
Okay, pushing the students to the like interviews like that. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm, yeah. Thanks, Sai.
yeah. Any other questions, guys, from anyone?